Hey guys, I'm Stephen Cottle, and I want to give you a little background about who I am. I'm about to hike the Appalachian Trail here in a few weeks, and I live in central Kentucky, and in 2019 I hiked a monster trail here in Kentucky all the way through Tennessee. I started at the northern terminus in Moorhead, Kentucky, and I hiked the Chateau Trace Trail into the Big South Fork into Tennessee, and I completed 333 miles on that trail this past year. I'm 57 years old. I'm a retired police detective from a little town here in central Kentucky called Winchester, Kentucky. I hope that this is going to be one of the most important videos that you've ever watched as far as gear for a thru hiker, and you'll find it to be very informative. There's a couple of disclaimers here. Like anything in life, I feel like it's important to say this. If you've done any studying, or you're a former thru hiker, or a person that's getting ready to do their own thru hike, there's no surefire way of what I'm going to show you today that it will work for you. This is a absolute, I believe it's important to say it's a trial and error situation. What worked for me might not work for you, and what works for you didn't work for me necessarily. Like I said, anything in life, this is just how I applied this equipment for me to be a successful thru hiker this past year in Kentucky. And I'm leaving for the Appalachian Trail in about 3 weeks. I just came back from Florida. I retired as a police detective, and been 13 years ago, and I'm the owner. My wife and I are the owners of a company called Daniel Boone of Kentucky. I'm a direct biological descendant of Daniel Boone. I developed a company 14 years ago called Daniel Boone of Kentucky, and I travel literally all over America. As far as away as Fort Frederick, Maryland, all the way down to Florida. We just got in, and all the way out to the Mississippi River and all the eastern part of the United States, doing presentations and shows, if you will, of the life, the facts and myths of Daniel Boone, who he was and who he wasn't. And then we sell a lot of accoutrements and stuff that Daniel Boone would have had back in his day. So anyway, I guess I'm not really a new guy to being outdoors. I was raised here in Kentucky. I've bow hunted. I've hunted with a flintlock, modern weapons my whole entire life, but I will absolutely throw it out there that I had never done any, per se, long distance backpacking until last year. And like so many people in this hobby, I'd had backpacks my whole life as a kid growing up, and technology and things have changed so drastically. But what you're looking at here right now is last week we came back from Florida on business. The weather was just phenomenal. You notice the Appalachian Trail thru hiker tag. We went to Amicula Falls. I registered my thru hike as a thru hiker, and my number was number 49. I went from Amicula Falls, and I hiked the approach trail to Springer Mountain. It was beautiful weather, but I came home. I made a few other changes, and that's what I want to show you today. My total pack weight right now, with water and a couple of days of food, is 21 pounds, 6 ounces. Now, I did a shakedown, and I've been very fortunate. My wife, Stephanie, here has helped me on this journey of my hike across Kentucky and Tennessee last year. I had 3 different people in my life that were just an enormous amount of wealth that helped me to get to the point that what I'm about to show you here. They're all Kentucky residents. They're all, 3 of these guys are all successful Appalachian Trail thru hikers. Each one of them were different years, but one of them was Steve Bowling, that I hiked the Chateau Trace with this past year. Will Modrell, and sorry Will if I'm saying that wrong, but he's from up in Louisville. I hiked that Chateau Trace Trail with him this year. And Brian Carpenter, I believe Brian was a thru hiker on the Appalachian Trail, in, I think it was 2012. And I go to church with Brian over at Southland Christian Church in Lexington, Kentucky. Both Will and Brian have come into my house, and Steve Bowen and I talked a lot on the phone and on the trail. A lot of information they gave me on the success of their through hike. One thing that all three of these guys highly recommended, not knowing that each other had told me this, was this book right here. My wife read this and I read it. This is the Appalachian Trails by Zach Davis. It's the psychological and emotional guide to successful through hiking of the Appalachian Trail. And after watching literally a whole year worth of through hikers on YouTube and reading this book and all this other literature we had, I felt so blessed that the other night my wife helped me do literally another shakedown and brought our pack weight down to where I felt really comfortable. But you know, I'm throwing out there to you that we're at 21 pounds 6 ounces right now. And if you have any experience whatsoever, you know that this is a Z-Pack Art Blast. It's a 55-liter pack, and I didn't start with this pack when I through hiked last year in Kentucky. The madness of all this, and Zach talks about this in his book, is I actually started with a Osprey Atmos backpack, super durable pack. I enjoyed that pack. It's very comfortable. But the fact was, it's one of the most popular packs you see here in Kentucky and on a lot of these through hike trails. They're reasonably priced, but I could just never get my mind around that when I was packing this gear to stay and stay out on the trail for days in, day out, that I was starting with like over 4 pounds just with that pack with nothing in it. So my second pack last year on my Chateau Trace hike was a super great pack, and it's probably the pack that you hear a lot of the cool kids all used last year on the Appalachian Trail, and you see them on the PCT Trail and the Continental Divide Trail, was a ULA circuit pack. It's an ultra lightweight pack. It's extremely durable. Great customer service with that pack when I ordered it, but honestly, guys, for me, I just could not ever get comfortable in that pack. It just didn't fit me right. And I was always subconscious about it being uncomfortable for me. So I purchased my third pack this year, and this is the pack that I used to hike the approach trail in the Appalachian last week, is I went with the Art Blast. And one thing that I'm getting ready to show you here real quick, because I'm going starting March the 1st for my through hike next Saturday, or let's be 3 Saturdays from now. I've got to get through the Smoky Mountains. I'm going to start at Springer Mountain, going northbound on my through hike to Katahdin, Maine. And this was one thing, is my friends that had experience had taught me that even if the weather report shows it's good, that the formula that I was taught is that there's about 3.5 degrees in Fahrenheit that changes for every 1,000 feet that you go in elevation. So for example, I was making some notes this morning. Let's say that we know that to get through the Smoky Mountains, the average time it takes to go through, on the average, not everybody, but 7 days to get through the Smoky Mountains. That the highest elevation in the Smoky Mountains is Clingman's Dome, which is 6,643 feet. So if you took that on an average day that it's 45 degrees and you subtract 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit and you multiply that times 6,000 feet in elevation, that'd be 21 degrees change in weather. And that's not counting the wind chill factor. So if you show a low elevation of 45 degrees and you subtract the 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit of every 1,000 feet in elevation you go, that means it could be up to 23 degrees or colder. And I just absolutely had to conquer my fear and not to fudge on cold weather gear until I get way past the Smokies and the seasons start to change. So this is what I'm going to leave with here in a few weeks with cold weather. And I'll start from the outside of the pack here. This Art Blast Z-Pack, just with nothing in it, is just a little over 20 ounces. Now I have the side pack, mesh pockets here and here. And then I also have two hip belt pockets that I added from Z-Packs that goes on here. And I also have, if you turn around here on the back of the pack, I've added two of these mesh water bottles. Personally, because I enjoy keeping my water bottle up here where I can reach it. And then if I'm fortunate enough to get maybe a Trail Angel, and I don't count on that, let me make clear that, on the trail, that maybe a Gatorade or something, if I don't have room back here, I can stick this, one of those Gatorades in this extra pocket. Now, you're gonna see that I'm a hammock hanger, and so I keep this carabiner on here at night, and it hangs from my hammock strap to get it up off the ground if it's pouring down rain. I'm carrying a Dyneema chest. This is not by Z-Pack. This was bought off Etsy, and this is where I keep my cell phone in here. I like it riding right here where I can reach down, and this is water resistance. And inside this pouch right here, I have a pair of Solomon waterproof mittens that I also found were helpful to me because I can put a heating packet in with these if I'm hiking where it's really cold. So I keep those right there. On this side pocket here, I have my toboggan, a wool toboggan with a pair of North Face polyester warm winter gloves. I carry a ultralight umbrella with me, and that helps me when I'm blogging here. This attachment here is actually a ULA circuit attachment that I took off my other pack that I got when I ordered it. And I keep my water filter and my water bladder right here to pick up dirty water. This is always nothing but dirty water here. And then I use the Sawyer Squeeze to filter all my water. And then I use this company brand here to fill up for dirty water when I get to a stream. Water bottle on that side. On this side, I have another water bottle here. And then I have my cooking system that I keep right here. And in my cooking system, as you can tell, I have a bandana that if it gets extra cold, you'll see some of my upper base layers, but this can also help me clean up in the kitchen. I keep my MSR stove wrapped up in it so it doesn't rattle around. I have one bottle of fuel in here, and then I have a rubber cup that fits down in here because I like drinking hot, like cocoa and coffee in the morning out of this. Now, in this front pocket right here on my left side of my backpack, I keep right here in this pocket my earbuds. I have a chargeable, my headlamp that I keep right here, and I carry a small sharp pocket knife in that front pocket. On this side here, I carry my handgun. I am a former retired police detective, and I keep my badge and my identification. I carry concealed LEOSA National Law Enforcement Permit, and I'm carrying a Glock 380 with 7 rounds, and I keep that here on my right front pocket. Going into the back of the front of my pack, I learned this from YouTube videos. If I'm carrying socks that are wet from the night before and they need to dry the next day, I keep this little clip right here where I can clip my wool socks off while I'm hiking through the day. And most of you know what this is, my seat cushion and a pair of Frog Tog rain pants. And you're going to see that I carry a different rain top. I carry a rad rain top, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. But because I guess my experience, my comfortable level. I've bass fished for so many years. I just love this Frog Talk material. It's quiet. It doesn't make a lot of noise when I'm moving through the woods. So that's my preference on them. Now, on the front side of my pack, because I'm a hammock hanger, this is my tarp, which is a 12-foot tarp. Gives me about 1.5 foot to 2 foot on each end. And my theory is, from my experience of being out here this past year through hiking, is that when I get to a camp and I decide I'm done for the day and it's raining, whether it's drizzling or it's snowing on me, I can immediately, as soon as I take off my pack, I can take this hammock rain tarp up. I can string it to between 2 trees, stake it down. I carry 4 stakes in here with it, and I can get underneath it immediately and start to undo my pack to hang my hammock. Okay, so let's go in. Let's get inside the pack. I think I don't think I said this in the beginning. My wife Stephanie's filming for me. That pretty much covers everything, doesn't it, on the inside and outside, or the front side and back side of this pack. Okay, first thing that I come into here is this is 2 days, representing 2 days of food. Somebody said, surely you're going to have more than 2 days food when you leave Springer Mountain, and I am. I think that unless I'm injured or something goes wrong and I can't get off the trail, I should, it's less than 35 miles to Neal's Gap, which would be my first resupply there. I plan on having a jump box there for me with an extra several days of food. But this represents, and I'm carrying, if you notice, this is my, this is a Dyneema waterproof bag with 2 days of food in it, and also has my bear rope and my carabiner in here, so I can hang this when I'm camping at night. That was something I learned from being in the Big South Fork and bear country, that if it's toothpaste, lip balm, anything and everything that has a fragrance to it, even soap, a granola bar, anything and everything, even my coffee packs out of my stove system goes in this bag, and it's hung away from where I eat at night into a bear bag in the trees. Now I was talking about my next thing to come out here is the Rad raincoat. I got a super buy on this at a local outrigger store in Lexington, Kentucky, because I went and listened to some thru hikers speak one night. I got a percentage off on this. This is a several $100 raincoat, and I ended up getting this thing for like less than $150. And so that's been real, just a go-to raincoat. It's very expensive, it works good, it's very breathable, it's very lightweight, and I wore this a lot last year on the Kentucky Trail, and I explained why I would make a combination of both these with the Frog Talk and the Rad. It's just because these are quieter when I'm moving through the wood. It just drives me crazy when I'm just walking by myself all day and my pants are rubbing together. It's just a preference thing. Now, when I turn this back in this Dyneema pack, the first thing that you're going to see here is, even though this pack is considered water resistance, this Dyneema, my sleep system, because I really feel like I pushed to the very limit to get everything in my pack because of my winter gear. I don't have problem in summer gear, but there was just things I was not going to go and compromise without. So you can see how much extra space that I have left, but I only have 2 days of food. So technically I could go ahead and tighten this down, or roll this down rather, and I could actually go ahead and get that extra day of food and use this strap here and put it up here if I had to. But right now I can get that 2 days of food in here. Now I have a trash compactor bag lining the inside of my pack just for safety, because I don't want anything to get wet. The first thing that comes out of the pack here is literally all my self-care, self-help stuff. I'm real big on wearing Body Glide, not just here in my private areas, but I found this very effective using Body Glide to put around my shoulders and around my neck here to prevent chafing from my straps. And I also take this in the morning when I get up and put it all around my waistband, and it helps the comfortability of my waist belt. My toiletries in here, my toilet shovel, ibuprofen, wet wipes, scissors, nail clippers, an extra lighter. I have a small military sewing kit in here, and a toothbrush and toothpaste, and that's what's in my private bag right there. The next thing that I get to, and this is something my wife really helped me a lot with, because I think, if I have to be honest with you, my fear was, I guess it's because I'm a former military guy. I served in the 1st Cav Division, is my feet. And so when I did my shakedown here, getting back from the approach trail, my wife and I went through this, and this is where I was able to cut most of my weight. Instead of having 4 pair of socks, what I ended up doing, I have, not counting what I'm wearing, I have another set of sock liners and darn tough wool stockings, merino wool to wear. I have a pair of dry merino wool sleep socks in case I'm wet. I have a, not mid layer, but I have a light layer merino wool base layer, both top and bottom, that I would put on if I get to the campsite at night and I'm wet. I have that, and then I have 1 pair extra of, I don't prefer nylon undershorts, but these are polyester mid-thigh underwear extra. And then I guess a lot because of my age, I've not had any problem the last year, but just in case I do, knee compression wraps for both my knees if I start having a problem when I'm going down in elevation. It's not up for me, it's always going down. When I first flew hiked in Kentucky this past year, I wore these the first 150 miles, but as my trail legs built up, I just felt like I didn't need them anymore. But doing these big miles on the Appalachian Trail, I wanted these with me just in case I need them. And inside here, the only other thing that I have left is a pair of super hand warmers that are purchased at any big box retail store. The next thing in my pack is my Patagonia 850 down puffy. The second thing to come out is a down pillow. This is probably my biggest comfort thing because this is down. This is made by the Chautauqua Hammock Company. If I've got this and that toboggan with me at night, I feel like it just aids into my recovery of my body so much more and gives me a better night's sleep in my hammock. The next thing to come out of here is my 0 degree, I'm sorry, this is not 0 degree, this is 15 degree upper quilt, outdoor vitals upper quilt. And I have 1 strap here that I can tuck the sides in once I get into my hammock. The next thing that I have is all my electronic pieces. I have a double anchor charging where it'll charge both my phone, my headlamp, and my iPhone, and I can charge my charger back when I get to a port. And this is the anchor that a lot of thru hikers use. This will charge my iPhone up to, I believe it's 4 extra times. And it has a double port on each side here. And the last but not least, here, in the very bottom of my pack, wrapped in this here. I know I've got one more thing it seems like in here. No, that's everything. Is this is brand new from the Chautauqua Hammock Company. This is a prototype not on the retail market yet. I have developed a friendship with the owner of Chateau Hammock Company over in Lexington, Kentucky. His name is Alex Gash, and I have met with him many occasions because I was absolutely convinced that I'm a hammock hanger, but I had to get my weight down in order for me to do this. And Alex has designed me, here's his logo right here. This is actually a design of a 0 degree half hammock, or a full size hammock I might say, with a half sideways laying vertical, one way, one direction, 0 degree underquilt with a sewn in bug net here. In this combination, counting my straps, I didn't catch those straps. Both my hammock straps are hanging right here. And this Outdoor Vital 15 degree upper quilt brought me in exactly identical to my one person tent that I was going to use. And I just don't get a comfortable sleep in a tent. But again, that's just me. Most people want that. They want that room. But I can effectively get this up and get underneath it and get this sleep system put up. And I sleep very comfortable, and I sleep very sound in this system. The only thing that I can tell that I don't have in my gear, that and it's just because I didn't put it in here, is I have a pair of 0 hiking sandals that my daughter bought me this year, that they're 2 thumbs up. They weigh 6 ounces for both pair, that'll go in my pack. And I have a R1 Patagonia hoodie that I believe Steph has put, it's in the wash, that'll go underneath in the mornings that I'll hike. But when I hiked the approach trail last week, it was 32 degrees, and I came out of that real quick and was hiking with just a very thin polyester base layer like this North Face, and a pair of Patagonia hiking shorts, a pair of Darn Tough wool stockings up to my knees, and I wear Ultra 4.0 Lone Peak 4s as far as my hiking shoes. So guys, I hope that helps somebody out there. Again, this is just what worked for me, but I'm going out of Springer Mountain in just 3 or 4 weeks at 21.6 pounds, and I just felt like there was nothing else that I was willing to compromise to get rid of in case I hit really bad weather when I get up around Cleanman's Dome. They say the average is it takes 7 days to get through the Smoky Mountains. It's 72 miles, so if you're averaging 10 miles a day, that's 7 days. If I've already built my legs up somewhat, I'd like to get through there in 5 days, but I'm also smart enough hiker to watch my weather report, and if they're socked in with a big snowstorm up there in Gatlinburg, I'm not going to try to get up in the Smokies where I'm getting sub-zero. I just don't feel like my equipment would be with high winds and real high snow drifts. For me, I'm going to be looking for a hostel and getting down low into Gatlinburg until the snowstorm passes. So anyway, if you haven't yet liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's Daniel Boone of Kentucky. We really appreciate everybody that's following us because I've made a living all these years in the living history business. We've got living history people already in Georgia and North Carolina, all through the Smoky Mountains and what we call Western Tennessee, that says, look, we'll pick you up, we'll give you support, let you do some laundry, do a resupply, give you a ride, and get you right back out on the trail. I've met with Ron Shuttle Service that shuttled me up at Springer Mountain the other day. Super great guy, reasonable price, very dependable, he comes highly recommended by the Park Service. I haven't met Fresh Ground, Oblique Frog Cafe yet, but I've talked to him on the phone, and I'm looking forward to meeting him. My wife and I have sent him some money during the Christmas holiday to help get some of the thru hikers that were going southbound to get them fed until Christmas and get them off the trail and complete their through hike this year. So from our house here in Kentucky to yours, I hope to meet just literally hundreds of you out on the trail this year. I'll be starting March the 1st, and my trail name is Kentucky, and my first name is Stephen, my last name's Cottle, and we look forward to seeing you on the trail, and we wish you a lot of luck in putting your pack together, and we'll see you on the trail. Thanks for joining us.